Quite a few people have asked us what Dr. Saccuzzo thinks likely to appear on the February 2026 bar exam. As always, we start with the fact that no one except the bar examiners knows what's on there. And a lot of people make all kinds of predictions about the bar exam. Start with how we get to Dr. Saccuzzo's thoughts on what's likely. Look at the California bar subjects and think about them in terms of three groups of subjects. The first group is the remedies-based subjects, torts, contracts, property, and remedies itself. The second group is the subjects that are heavily based in constitutional law. Evidence, both federal and California, constitutional law itself, and crimes, criminal law and criminal procedure. Then think about all the other subjects as another category. Civ Pro, both Fed and California, California community property, California wills, trusts, business associations, and professional responsibility, which also is California as well as ABA. When you think about the California bar exam and when you look at past exams, almost always there are two of the remedies con law based subjects, one in remedies based, one in con law based as essays. And then there are two others from the other subjects, the all others. In other words, two of the essays on the California bar come from the heavily MBE tested subjects, with the exception of Civ Pro. The other two essays generally come from the all others category. And remember that PR is generally its own essay. Sometimes it's a crossover. It was on the last bar. The most frequent pattern is exactly that. Two from the first two groups, two from the all others, and then a PR essay. The next most frequent pattern we see on the California bar is the one where the bar tests three essays in the first two groups. So three of the essays come from the remedies-based and the con law-based. And then there's only one from the all others plus PR. So then what did we see in July? Well, of course, we saw the obligatory PR essay, but this time it was a crossover with crimes, one of the subjects from the first two groups. Notice that there were two full-blown essays as well from those first two groups, torts from the remedies-based subjects and constitutional law from the con law-based subjects. The other two essays were trusts and business associations. But the PT also tested one of the subjects from the first two groups, property, a remedies-based subject. So this bar heavily tested subjects in the first two groups. What does that tell Dr. Saccuzzo about what he expects to see in February 2026? Well, given that the July bar was so heavily MBE subject-based, he expects to see only two of those subjects in the essays in February. And the two he most expects are in the area of contracts and or its associated remedies, and then evidence, perhaps con law, but they tested that in the last bar. Evidence is pretty heavily likely. And then the other subjects he's thinking are community property. He predicted that for July, and it did not appear. And civil procedure. It's been a while since we've seen Civ Pro. His wild card thoughts are property They tested that on the PT last time, and fairly often what appears on the PT in one bar shows up as a full-blown essay in the next bar. In July, property was the performance test, so perhaps property this time. Business associations, maybe, but you see in any case there, he's chosen one subject from the remedies-based group, one subject from the constitutional law-based group, of course PR, and then 2 of the other subjects. That's the pattern most likely in February. And of course, you have to be ready for everything. But as a study strategy, you're going to be heavily tested in those MBE subjects. You really have to know them backwards and forwards. If you're taking the attorney's exam, you don't have the MBE to worry about, but still those MBE type subjects, the subjects in the first 2 groups, are vital. So with limited time remaining for the bar, make sure that you know those backwards and forwards. And likely you will see 2 from the other group, and you'll see a full-blown PR essay. If you have not yet checked out our video debriefs of past essays, they're well worth viewing on the YouTube channel. And the other thing I would say is that if you have not yet seen it, we have a Patreon channel where we have posted our more complete video reviews of all the subjects on the California bar. And you can subscribe to that for as little as 1 month, and it's really a nominal fee to get access to that content. It's on patreon.com/barsecrets. And we, of course, wish you all the success in the world on the upcoming bar.